Maddie, what's wrong? Why did you suddenly go outside like that? Is something bothering you? You really have the nerve to ask me that, don't you? How can you say that after what just happened? And more importantly, how did you even get in touch with me? I didn't give you my number. Well, I heard it from Gabe, of course. That's how I got it. Wait, what? Gabe told you? That doesn't make any sense. Why would Gabe give my phone number to someone like you? In fact, why are you even here? Why would someone as irrelevant as you be present during Gabe's and my engagement announcement? It's absurd. There's nothing absurd about it, Maddie. I'm Gabe's childhood friend, and because I've known him for so long, I felt like it was my responsibility to come here and see what kind of woman he's planning to marry. I mean, wouldn't you want to know if your childhood friend was about to make a huge mistake? I don't need you to evaluate me, and I certainly don't need your approval. This is between Gabe and me. Oh, Maddie, you're only saying that because you lack confidence. If you were truly confident in your relationship with Gabe, you wouldn't be so defensive. Instead, you'd be proud and stand tall. But here you are, acting like you need to run away from home just because I'm here. That's not true. I'm not running away from anything. It's just that having someone like you around made me feel sick to my stomach. And by the way, why is Gabe even letting you do this? Why would he allow you to come here and stir up all this drama? What do you mean allow? Gabe asked me to come here. He personally requested that I come and meet you to see what kind of person you are. He wanted my honest opinion. What? There's no way that's true. Gabe would never do something like that. He loves me. We've been together for 2 years and we've built a life together. He proposed to me because he wants to spend the rest of his life with me, not because he needed someone else's opinion. There's no way he asked you to come here to judge me. Oh, Maddie, you're so naive. It's natural to have doubts when you're about to make a life-changing decision like marriage. Don't you think Gabe might be feeling a bit uncertain, even if he loves you? People have second thoughts all the time. But that doesn't justify this. You showing up here, uninvited, and making me feel like I'm being put on trial, it's completely out of line. Well, since I'm already here, I might as well give you my assessment, don't you think? I don't want or need your so-called assessment. This is ridiculous. Oh, no, you definitely need it, and I'm going to give it to you whether you like it or not. So, here it is. You're not good enough for Gabe. Excuse me? You heard me. I mean, just look at you. When Gabe told me he was getting married, I was shocked. But when I actually saw you, I was even more surprised. I didn't expect you to be so plain. You're not attractive enough for Gabe, Maddie. And that's my final assessment. What? What are you talking about? You don't even know me. You can't just say something like that and expect me to take it seriously. Oh, I'm being completely serious. Gabe is an attractive, successful man with a bright future ahead of him. He deserves someone who matches his level, someone who compliments him, and unfortunately, that someone isn't you. You're not going to be marrying my childhood friend. Wait, you can't just make decisions like that. Does Gabe even know you're saying these things? Did he really ask you to come here and break off your engagement? Of course he did. Gabe and I have known each other for a long time, and he trusts me. I'm only doing what he asked me to do. No, this can't be happening. Gabe would never want something like this. We've been in love for 2 years. We've been through so much together. We've built a life, and he proposed to me because he wanted us to be together. He wouldn't just throw all of that away because of what you think. Well, sometimes people change their minds. Maybe Gabe realized that you're not the right person for him after all. Maybe he felt like something was missing. This isn't fair. You can't just come in here, make these ridiculous claims, and expect me to roll over and accept it. Gabe and I love each other. That's what matters most. Love isn't everything, Maddie. Sometimes love just isn't enough. You have to be compatible in every aspect of life. And honestly, you and Gabe just don't seem to fit together. What do you mean by that? How can you say that when you barely know me? Look at your lives. Gabe is a successful, ambitious man who lives in a beautiful, spacious apartment. He's on track to have an amazing career and a wonderful future. And then there's you. You don't really fit into that picture, do you? Wait, how do you know about our apartment? Have you been there? Of course. I had to see where Gabe was living and make sure it was up to my standards. I can't just let him live anywhere, you know? This is unbelievable. You've crossed every line imaginable. You went behind my back, invaded my privacy, and now you're trying to destroy my relationship. Oh, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. I just wanted to see what kind of place you were living in. And honestly, it's a gorgeous apartment. I think I'd look much better living there than you. You're insane. This isn't your life to interfere with. Gabe and I are happy together, and nothing you say is going to change that. How about this? Gabe and I will be moving forward with our wedding plans, and you can watch the engagement announcement if you'd like. Absolutely not. I refuse to be part of this farce. And for the record, I haven't agreed to any of this. Gabe and I are still engaged, and we're going to work through this. I'm not giving up on him just because you showed up with your ridiculous opinions. Oh, Maddie, you're so stubborn. If you really loved him, you'd want what's best for him. And right now, what's best for him is someone who can support him and match his ambitions. That person isn't you. I'm leaving for now, but this isn't over. I'll be speaking to Gabe directly about all of this, and we'll see what he has to say. Fine, go ahead. In the meantime, I'll be continuing with the wedding plans. Gabe and I will move forward, and you'll just have to deal with it. Gabe and Winter found themselves in a precarious situation after being hit with a significant compensation claim. The stress of financial obligations and emotional turmoil turned their lives upside down, leading them down a difficult path that neither had anticipated. The pressure was mounting, and the weight of their decisions began to bear heavily on their shoulders. Winter swiftly decided to end her engagement with Gabe, realizing that staying together under such dire circumstances would only complicate matters further. With a heavy heart, she moved back to her family home, hoping that returning to her roots would offer her some semblance of stability amid the chaos that had enveloped her life. As Winter settled back into her family home, she thought that perhaps the familiarity of her childhood environment would provide her with comfort. However, the emotional fallout from the engagement's abrupt end lingered, making it challenging for her to adjust. She felt a profound sense of loss, both for her relationship with Gabe and for the life she had envisioned with him. Memories of happier times flooded her mind, contrasting sharply with the harsh reality of her current situation. In her heart, Winter hoped that with time, the wounds would heal and she could start anew, but the journey ahead seemed daunting. Meanwhile, Gabe was adamant about not recognizing the annulment of their engagement. He held on to the belief that their relationship still had the potential to be salvaged, launching a long and drawn-out legal battle that quickly became bitter and emotionally draining for both of them. The courtroom transformed into a battleground for their unresolved issues and grievances, where both parties aired their frustrations and disappointments. Neither was willing to back down, and the conflict intensified with each passing day. The courtroom drama took a toll on both Winter and Gabe, leading them to question their choices and the very nature of their relationship. With each hearing, they were forced to confront the pain they had inflicted on one another, and it became increasingly clear that their love story had taken a dark turn. Friends and family watched the unfolding drama with a mix of concern and disbelief, unsure of how it all resolved. The situation was becoming a public spectacle, and the pressure from outside sources only added to their struggles. In the midst of all this turmoil, Winter realized that she had an obligation to start repaying the compensation she owed. Desperate for a way out, she turned to her previous workplace, hoping to return to her former position and regain some financial stability. She believed that doing so would provide her with a quick fix to her mounting problems. However, her attempts were met with a cold and firm rejection. The company was simply not in a position to accommodate her request for reinstatement. Winter's heart sank as she realized that her dreams of returning to the comfort of her old job were dashed, leaving her feeling more hopeless than ever. Feeling increasingly despondent, Winter decided to reach out to her parents for help. She pleaded with them to assist her in covering the substantial compensation she owed, hoping that they would understand the gravity of her situation. However, her parents, already burdened with their own financial struggles, informed her that they were unable to provide any support. Their words stung, leaving Winter feeling abandoned and alone in her fight. This realization hit her hard, forcing her to come to terms with her new reality. With no other options available, she reluctantly accepted the situation and took up part-time work to begin repaying the debt that loomed over her. Taking on part-time jobs was not what Winter had envisioned for her life, but she knew it was necessary to stay afloat. The work was often physically demanding and emotionally draining, yet she persevered, determined to make ends meet. Winter found herself juggling multiple jobs, working late into the night and waking up early to make the most of her limited time. Each paycheck provided a small sense of relief, but it was never enough to fully alleviate the weight of her debt. With every passing day, she felt the pressure mount, pushing her further into a cycle of stress and anxiety. In a desperate attempt to turn her life around, Winter embarked on a search for a wealthy partner who could potentially rescue her from her dire financial situation. She hoped to find someone who would not only help her regain her footing, but also offer her a lavish lifestyle that she once enjoyed. Her friends encouraged her, suggesting that finding a rich partner could be the solution to all her problems. Winter attended various social events, hoping to meet someone who would sweep her off her feet and provide her with the security she craved. However, as the pressure mounted, the stress began to take its toll on her physically and emotionally. The once flawless beauty that had drawn many men to her began to deteriorate, leading to a decline in her self-esteem. Winter's once vibrant appearance became shadowed by dark circles under her eyes, and the signs of exhaustion etched on her face. She struggled to maintain the facade of confidence, but inside, she felt like a shell of her former self. The pressures of her life were relentless, and each rejection stung deeper than the last. Unfortunately for Winter, as her appearance faded, so did her prospects. The men she had hoped to attract with her charm and beauty began to overlook her. She found herself increasingly isolated, with very few men interested in pursuing a relationship with her. The combination of financial strain and the loss of her former beauty left her feeling desolate and alone. It seemed that no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't escape her current predicament. Winter felt like she was trapped in a cycle of disappointment, struggling to find a way out while wrestling with her self-worth. Now, Winter was left with the harsh reality of working various part-time jobs just to scrape by, struggling to make ends meet while feeling the weight of her past decisions. Each day was a battle, and she often found herself reflecting on how she had ended up in this situation. The dreams she once had seemed so distant, and the future appeared bleak. Despite her efforts, it felt as though she was running on a treadmill, expending all her energy but getting nowhere. Meanwhile, Gabe's situation was no better. Unable to pay the required compensation, he found himself resorting to taking on substantial debts. His once promising career quickly crumbled under the weight of his financial obligations. He became increasingly overwhelmed by his circumstances. As his financial situation worsened, he spiraled into a state of despair. The burden of debt and the pressure of his unresolved legal issues compounded his problems, creating a perfect storm of stress and anxiety. Gabe felt trapped in a cycle of despair, unsure of how to break free from the financial burdens that had taken over his life. The shame of his situation weighed heavily on him, and he often found himself isolating from friends and family who might have provided support. The emotional toll of his struggles was evident, as he battled feelings of worthlessness and regret. As for what happened to him afterward, it appeared that no one knew the specifics of his struggles or where he ended up. Gabe became a shadow of his former self, lost in a sea of financial instability and uncertainty. On my end, I made the conscious decision to channel the shock of my broken engagement into my work. Instead of allowing myself to be consumed by heartache, I committed myself to my job, determined to make something of myself in the process. I immersed myself in my responsibilities, seeking to achieve professional success and personal growth. This dedication proved to be fruitful. I not only achieved numerous results at work, but also contributed significantly to my father's company. The sense of purpose I found in my work became a refuge from the turmoil surrounding me. I poured my energy into projects and initiatives, often staying late and working weekends to ensure that I was giving my best effort. My hard work did not go unnoticed, and I began to receive recognition from my peers and superiors. This validation fueled my drive, propelling me further along my career path. With each success, I felt a renewed sense of confidence and determination, allowing me to move forward despite the pain of my broken engagement. As I look back on this experience, I find myself thinking that perhaps it's best for me to take a break from the idea of marriage for a while. My priorities shifted, and I realized that I wanted to cherish the time I had with my father, who had always been there for me through thick and thin. I found comfort in our shared moments, whether it was over a meal or during a long conversation. These interactions reinforced the importance of family in my life and helped me regain the perspective on what truly matters. I've come to understand that building a strong relationship with my father is just as important, if not more so, than pursuing romantic relationships. He has always been a pillar of support, guiding me through the challenges of life. As I dedicated myself to my career, I also made a conscious effort to spend quality time with him, cherishing the moments we shared. Our bond grew stronger as we navigated the complexities of life together, and I realized how fortunate I was to have such a caring and supportive figure in my life. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.